When most people think of the American Revolution on screen, one film stands out above all others: The Patriot 2000, directed by Roland Emmerich and starring Mel Gibson. While not a strictly accurate documentary, the film captures the spirit, sacrifice, and brutality of the Revolutionary War through a deeply personal lens. The movie mixes fictional storytelling with historical echoes, delivering a dramatic tale of family, vengeance, and freedom. This is the full story of The Patriot, Mel Gibson's iconic role as Benjamin Martin, and how one man is pulled into America's fight for independence. At the heart of The Patriot is Benjamin Martin, played by Mel Gibson, a fictional character inspired by several real-life Revolutionary War figures, such as Francis Marion, Daniel Morgan, and Andrew Pickens. Martin is a widowed farmer raising 7 children in rural South Carolina. A veteran of the brutal French and Indian War, Martin carries deep scars, not just physical, but psychological. He has committed violence in the past and desperately wants to avoid returning to it. His goal is simple: to keep his family safe and stay out of the escalating conflict between Britain and the colonies. But history will not let him remain neutral. In 1776, tensions between the American colonies and Britain boil over into full-scale war. South Carolina's Colonial Assembly votes on joining the fight for independence. Martin speaks against it, insisting war will bring only suffering. But his eldest son, Gabriel Martin, played by Heath Ledger, is idealistic and passionate. Unlike his father, Gabriel believes in the Revolution's cause and enlists in the Continental Army. His decision plants the seed of conflict within the Martin family itself. Soon, the war literally arrives at their doorstep. Gabriel returns home wounded after a battle, carrying important dispatches for the Continental Army. British dragoons, led by the ruthless Colonel William Tavington, played by Jason Isaacs, arrive at the Martin home. In one chilling sequence, they burn the family's farm, take Gabriel prisoner, and, most horrifically, execute Martin's young son, Thomas, when the boy tries to save his brother. This moment changes everything. The murder of his son awakens the warrior Benjamin Martin has tried to bury. Fueled by grief and rage, Martin ambushes the British column transporting Gabriel, armed with only muskets and tomahawks. And with the help of his younger sons, Martin unleashes brutal guerrilla tactics. In a shocking display of ferocity, he kills dozens of British soldiers and rescues Gabriel. The scene establishes Martin as a man both heroic and terrifying. He is no longer just a farmer. He is a legend in the making. As the war escalates, Martin reluctantly joins the Continental cause. He forms a militia unit of irregular fighters, farmers, freedmen, and veterans who specialize in hit-and-run guerrilla warfare. They sabotage British supply lines, ambush convoys, and harass the Redcoats. Becoming a nightmare for the British Army in the South, Martin himself earns the nickname the Ghost, a shadowy figure who seems impossible to kill or capture. His tactics mirror those of the real Swamp Fox, Francis Marion, whose knowledge of local terrain made him a terror to British forces. But with every victory, the cost grows heavier. The war is not just fought on battlefields, but in the hearts of families torn apart. If Benjamin Martin represents the American spirit of resilience, Colonel Tavington represents the cruelty of the British war machine. Jason Isaacs plays Tavington as a cold, merciless officer who embodies pure villainy, inspired loosely by the real British officer. Banasta Tarleton, Tavington believes in crushing rebellion through fear and terror. One of the most infamous scenes in the film comes when Tavington orders an entire town, including women and children, locked inside a church, which he then sets ablaze. While this atrocity is fictionalized, it symbolizes the brutality often inflicted upon civilians during the Revolutionary War. For Martin, Tavington becomes more than an enemy officer. He becomes the embodiment of everything Benjamin hates, the monster he must destroy. Amidst the chaos, the film also explores family bonds and personal love stories. Gabriel, the idealistic son, falls in love with Anne Howard, a strong young woman from the community. Their romance offers a glimmer of hope, reminding us what ordinary people were fighting for: love, family, and a future free from tyranny. But the war is relentless. Anne and her family are later murdered in one of Tavington's scorched earth campaigns, driving Gabriel into a spiral of vengeance that mirrors his father's. The tragedy shows how the revolution was not only fought between armies, but within homes and hearts. Each victory came at devastating personal cost. Throughout the story, the relationship between Benjamin and Gabriel Martin is central. The father, scarred by past violence, wants to protect his children from war. The son, driven by ideals, is willing to risk everything for liberty. This generational clash echoes the broader revolution itself, the old world of caution versus the new world of freedom and boldness. Eventually, Gabriel's path leads him into direct conflict with Tavington. In a heated skirmish, Gabriel is mortally wounded. His death shatters Benjamin and leaves him with nothing but rage and the revolution. The film builds to a massive showdown, the Battle of Cowpens, a real Revolutionary War battle reimagined cinematically. General Cornwallis leads the British, while Benjamin Martin and his militia join the Continental Army under General Daniel Morgan. The battle sequence is sweeping, bloody, and symbolic. Martin personally faces Tavington in a brutal hand-to-hand duel. After years of torment, betrayal, and loss, Martin finally kills his nemesis, avenging his sons and ending Tavington's reign of terror. Though fictionalized, the victory reflects the turning of the tide in the Southern campaign of the Revolution, where American militias and Continental forces began to outmaneuver and outfight the British. When released in 2000, The Patriot stirred both acclaim and controversy. Critics praised Mel Gibson's performance and the film's emotional power, but some historians criticized its historical liberties and its portrayal of British cruelty. Still, the movie remains one of the most popular depictions of the American Revolution. It captures the spirit of sacrifice, vengeance, and resilience that defined the birth of the United States. For American audiences, Benjamin Martin became a symbol, a man torn between peace and war, family and duty, vengeance and freedom. While The Patriot takes creative liberties, it draws inspiration from reality. Francis Marion, the Swamp Fox, led guerrilla campaigns in South Carolina. The Battle of Cowpens, 1781, was a real turning point in the Southern theater. Atrocities against civilians did occur, though the infamous church burning scene was dramatized for impact. The movie's power lies not in perfect accuracy, but in emotional truth, showing how war tests humanity's deepest values. The Patriot is more than just a war film. It's a story about fathers and sons, vengeance and sacrifice, brutality and hope. It's about the birth of America, not as an abstract ideal, but as the painful, bloody struggle of families who risked everything for liberty. And at the center stands Mel Gibson as Benjamin Martin, a man who never wanted to fight, but who became a legend when history demanded it. The real revolution was messy, tragic, and full of contradictions. But through The Patriot, we glimpse the courage, the heartbreak, and the ultimate triumph of a people who dared to fight for freedom.